Good morning, students. How are you all? Doing good? Today we are going to continue chapter number 2, New Kings and Kingdoms. So, you understood the chapter, no? Part 1? Nobody asked any question or queries. You have commented that you have understood the chapter. Okay, today we will be continuing the second part. In that second part, so our chapter name is New Kings and Kingdoms, isn't it? So today we are going to study exclusively one of the kingdoms that flourished during those days. That is the Chola kingdom. So ruling the southern part of India. So we are going to study this in detail today. One more thing I would like to bring to your knowledge that in the next week we are going to have online test of each chapter whatever we have taught. Okay, it will be in the form of multiple choice questions. So in the Google form I am sending that questionnaire to you. You have to write your name and you have to submit the answer after putting proper mark or selecting the answer. It should not be unattended. Okay, you have to attempt all the answers. So before that I will post the syllabus for the same. So don't worry, it will be in the form of a trial test also. We are going to have it on Monday. And one more thing, today I am going to post very short answer type questions also. And the second part, that is the long answer and the short answers, will be posted on Monday. Let me try if some of the question answers, if you are not able to understand, I'll try to explain those answers through YouTube only. Okay, let's move on to chapter number 2, New Kings and Kingdoms, second part. Chapter number 2, New Kings and Kingdoms, part 2. Let's recap what we have studied on the other day. We studied about the emergence of new dynasties, administration in the kingdom, then prashastis and land grants. Land grants, usually it was maintained in the copper plates. Prashastis were written by the learned Brahmins. Then lastly, warfare for wealth, wherein we have studied about tripartite struggle, then the attacking of Somnath temple by Muhammad Ghazni, isn't it? Today we will going to elaborate the remaining concept, that is the closer look, the Cholas. So let us see the map first. I'm going to zoom this. So this is the southern map of India, wherein you can see the shaded part or brighter side. That was the area ruled by the Chola kingdom or the Cholas. I have underlined Kanchipuram and Tanjavur. So these are the two flourishing places or cities in the Chola kingdom, and Kanchipuram was the capital city of the Cholas. So this type of map is very, very important. You may be asked to locate the places during examination. Okay. Now let's see in detail administration of the empire. First of all, we are going to see the Cholas. Under that, the administration of the empire, that much big empire, how it was administrated. Peasants' settlements called Ur prospered with the spread of irrigation. First of all, peasants or the farmers, their settlement, their community, that called Ur. So these are all the particular Tamilian words. Okay, Ur is a word, is a Tamilian word. Prospered, matlab flourished with the spread of irrigation. So irrigation, if there is irrigation, if there is water supply, then of course the farms are going to develop. Groups of villages were called Nadu, which performed several administrative functions. So, what are the groups of villages are called? They were called as Nadus. Here the group of villages then united together, then it becomes Taluka. So, group of talukas becomes the district. The group of district becomes the nation. But in those days, group of villages were called Nadu. Again, this is very familiar word, isn't it? Tamil Nadu. So, we are talking about Tamil Nadu only, but it was called Nadu, which performed several administrative functions. Rich peasants of Vellala caste. We have already studied the word Vellala, then Ulavar, then Adimai. Do you remember this in your previous classes? Of course. The rich peasants of Vellala. Vellala means, again it's a Tamil word. Caste exercise control over Nadu affairs. Nadu is, we have already studied, the group of villages were called Nadus. And who were looking after these administrative functions? These Vellala caste. Titles like Muvendavelan, then Arayar, etc. were granted to the rich peasants by the Chola kings along with important offices. Important offices means important post. Along with that, some of the titles were also being given to them, like Muvendavelan, then Arayar. So again, I am saying that these are all Tamil words and these are the titles granted to the rich peasants by the Chola kings. It's a type of recognition. Then let's continue administration. Association of traders were known as Nagaram. So, what is Nagaram? Is an association of traders. Traders association is called as Nagaram. Also performed administrative functions in town. Vellala caste also performed administrative function. Then Nagaram or the association of traders also performed the administrative functions in town. Inscriptions also mentions about Sabha. The Sabha had a separate committee to look after irrigation works, gardens, temples, etc. So, the total inscription, the Tamil inscriptions, they mentions about the existence of Sabha. This Sabha had a separate committee to look after irrigation work. One particular department is looking after providing irrigation work, then maintenance of garden, then construction of temples. All we can say public welfare activities were being managed by the Sabha. Then let's see agriculture and irrigation. Agriculture was well developed along with various methods of irrigation. So in those days only agriculture was well developed with the help of various methods of irrigation. First of all, what they did, they cleared the forest and leveled and used for cultivation. Forests were cleared, so then leveled. Thereafterwards, that same land was used for cultivation. Embankments. Now, what is embankment? It is a wall of stone. Either it is a wall made up of stone or a wall made up of earth that is to build to stop a river from flooding. So, river को flooding होने से बचाने के लिए there is either the wall it's made up of stone, और अगर stone नहीं मिलता है तो a wall made up of mud it was built, and that was called embankment. These embankments were built in the delta region, where the three rivers or one or two they join the main sea or ocean, that is called the delta region. In those areas, these embankments were built in order to prevent the flooding. Then canals carried water to the fields. Canals. What do you mean by canals? Have you seen canals? Yes, in Gujarat it is most common. It's a small, or I can say wherever the source of water is there, from there through canals the water is supplied to the agriculture fields. If you are moving from this Ankleshwar city towards this Bharuch through Golden Bridge, and immediately after that ONGC's, then you will be able to see on the left side. On the left side, while moving to Bharuch, you can see the canal. So such type of canals are found everywhere, and through canals water is provided or channeled through the agriculture fields. Wells and tanks were dug to collect water. See, rain, water, harvesting. Nowadays we are giving importance for that, to collect rainwater. But in those days they used to dug wells, they used to build tanks so that they can collect the rainwater. Then after this agriculture and irrigation, now we are moving ahead with the splendid, beautiful temples and bronze sculptures. Pratima, Murtiya, you can say images. Cholas were big temple builders. So all the Chola rulers, they were interested in the construction and maintenance of the temples. They were temple builders. Best one, Tanjavur and Gangai-Konda Cholapuram. I spell Gangai-Konda Cholapuram are architectural and sculptural marvels. Marvels means we are using the word marvelous, beautiful. So these two are, Tanjavur and Gangai-Konda Cholapuram, are the best example for architectural and sculptural beauty. Chola temples became a center of settlement. Means what this particular last sentence says, Chola temples became a center of settlement. Earlier we have seen the settlements were started where the river flourished, isn't it? All the important civilization of the world, where if it may be the Harappan civilization, isn't it? It flourished on the banks of river. Now this particular statement says that Chola temples became the center of settlement. मतलब जहाँ where the temples are built, in and around the settlement started. People started living in and around the temple, not in and around the water source. Why? The temples became the center of settlements. Simple thing, if the temple is there, automatically the devotees will come. If they come, automatically what will happen? The employment opportunities will generate, isn't it? How it will generate? For example, now I'm coming from, or I can say Gujarat, I'm going to that Balaji temple, okay? It is there in the border of, it's there in southern part of India, and I'm going over there, and I'm or I can say pilgrim, okay, yatrarthi am. So and for that I'm using the vehicle through aviation or through bus or train. I'm going and I'm reaching over there. Okay, then once I reach over there, I book a hotel or dharamshala. I prefer to go to hotel or a dharamshala. Okay, if I say go to hotel, automatically hotel वाला का income बढ़ता है. And once I go there, I also need breakfast, lunch, everything. So again उनका demand बढ़ता है. And afterwards I'll go to the temple and I don't know where it is located. Then I book either a auto rickshaw or a or a taxi, isn't it? Then वहाँ से मैं वहाँ पहुँच जाती हूँ. Automatically वो टैक्सी वाले या रिक्शा वाले को क्या मिलता है, तो उनको भी कस्टमर मिल जाता है, तो इनका इनकम बढ़ जाता है. ओके, वंस आई रीच ओवर दैट टेम्पल, देन मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि फर्स्ट टाइम आई एम विजिटिंग द टेम्पल, सो आई शुड गो विद द, और आई कैन से पूजा का थाली के साथ मुझे जाना चाहिए. सो आई गो एंड परचेज वो दिस अगरबत्तियाँ होती है और दिया होता है, ऑल दिस थिंग्स एंड प्रसाद वो सब चढ़ाने के लिए, नारियल एंड ऑल दिस थिंग्स आई परचेज. एंड ऑटोमेटिकली वो जो सेल करने के लिए उधर इन एंड अराउंड बैठते हैं, तो देयर इनकम इंक्रीजेस. And finally, I am going inside. Before that, I have to remove my chappal, isn't it? And चोरी होता है, इसीलिए I have to keep. There may be a separate person to look after, exclusively look after your sandals and all. So after paying him 1 rupee or 2 rupee, then again I am entering the temple, and with the hope that it will be safe in his hand. Automatically, उसका जो income बढ़ता है. So in the meantime, after darshan सब हो जाता है, afterwards I prefer to go for shopping for my family members. Of course वहाँ जो shopping centers होते हैं उनका income बढ़ जाता है. Like that it is a chain. एक temple की वजह से जितने लोगों को काम मिल गया, and that is called the temples became center of settlement. Produce from land was used for the maintenance of temple. So land produce, so they used to collect in the form of rent, tax, revenue, whatever it is, and that money was used for the maintenance of temples. Temples को मरम्मत करने के लिए या फिर उसको देखभाल करने के लिए यूज़ किया जाता था. Temples became the center of economic, as I told you, money. यहाँ पर it became the center of economic. Yeah, because of temple, so many got employment opportunities. किसको, सबको. Ultimately एक photographer आता है, he says that कि I will take a snap, और a photographer, उसका पैसा इनकम हो जाता है. Then if it is a historical place, and of course there will be guides to guide you people, उनका इनकम बढ़ जाता है. एंड टैक्सी वाले का इनकम बढ़ जाता है, होटल वाला का इनकम बढ़ जाता है, बिजनेस वाले का करता है. सो ये इट इज़ जनरेटिंग इनकम फॉर वन और द अदर पीपल. सो ऑटोमेटिकली उनका जो है इकोनॉमिक का, दैट इज़ लीडिंग टू द इकोनॉमिक, उनका इम्प्रूव होता है. Then socially also they are mingling with so many people, different variety of people, types of people, so that is socially development hota hai. And cultural life, different culture people, they are coming, they are mingling, they are exchanging their ideas, and in this way the temples became the center of economic, social and cultural life. Making bronze images was a distinctive craft, being the finest in the world. As we have seen that bronze, finest marvels of bronze images were found. So during this time only that distinctive different craft work hai, and it being the finest in the world, bronze images. So next, moving to from Urayur to Tanjavur. Urayur is a place, and from there to Tanjavur. Vijayalaya belonged to the Chola family of Tanjavur. Then if you ask, the Vijayalaya is belong to the Chola family. The successors of Vijayalaya conquered the neighboring regions, and the kingdom grew in size and power. Successor, after whomsoever is coming, after Vijayalaya, whomsoever succeeded him, they conquered, they captured the neighboring regions, here and there, nearing regions, and the kingdom grew in size and power. Kingdom grew in size as well as size में भी बढ़ गया and it become powerful also. Raja first, another powerful Chola ruler, extended control over the other areas. Vijayalaya, he is the first one, the founder. Then Raja I, he is the powerful Chola ruler. Then his son Rajendra I conquered Sri Lanka and the countries of Southeast Asia. We have seen in the map only the Chola kingdom up to India only, but Rajendra I, he conquered beyond India, that was Sri Lanka also, and even the Southeast Asia. And this is all about the Cholas, right from their administration work, irrigation work, their then construction of temples, buildings, so everything. This is the closer look, we can say, just like a case study type. So here we are ending this chapter, so I'm sending the PDF too, so please read. And some of the points may be missed out, but I covered almost all the major topics. Okay, so whatever the work assigned to you, read it clearly. And as I told you, on Monday I will post online test also. So before that I will let you know which are the chapters to be a part of your MCQs or online test. Clear? Thank you.